Boom, 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 boom. You're fine. All right, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All right, everyone. Trying to figure out how many people are actually on here. If you're on already, give me a chat. Give me a shout in the chat. Let's see. Download. All right, so it looks like I got at least something on YouTube and something on Twitch. All right, so I apologize for the background. You already know. We're gonna go ahead. You already know it's that time of night. Baby boy is doing his dishes. All right, so I got somebody new pop in here. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right, so for those who may not have been on a stream before, we do like to make sure it's interactive as much as possible. So I want to make sure you're using the chat. We're going to be doing some basic, going over where we left off last time. So I'm going to do a quick recap. And then, oh yeah, I guess I should say, once again, my name is Ricardo Billanzar. I do this stream for a couple of friends of mine and whoever else wants to join along the way. So basically, what we've been doing is exploring basic technology, basics of technology, and starting with virtualization, something that anyone can do at their home with any computer you have that you're currently using, with some basic, hardware that you may need for virtualizing. So last time we did an installation of CentOS 9, and I'll drop the link in here as well. Let me go ahead and pull that CentOS 9 stream. Bring that up real quick. I'm on a different screen, just in case you're wondering. So give me 1 second. Go to CentOS. I guess it's a good time to drop that there is a blog that I am also writing to cover everything we've done so far. And actually, I'll post that into the chat first. So let's do this. This is the blog. Megan, nice to have you back. Nice to have you back. I got your message earlier. Um, Looking forward to you jumping on today and let me know some good news. All right. So for everyone that's on right now, I just dropped a quick link to my blog posting that covered the first two lessons we went over so far. Please feel free to look at those. And I'm currently looking for the CentOS Stream 9 download. All right. Then we'll jump into it. All right, download home stream. And I'll put on screen I'm doing so you can see it. So this is all I'm doing now. Um, RPMs. I know, I know. Be careful of that beautiful, beautiful warning about the certificate. I don't know why it does it, but CentOS. All right. And then we're going to go to x86-64. So with the newer Linux kernels, you're pretty much stuck with 64-bit. You can roll back to previous ones if you want to run 32-bit or if that's all your system can handle. But most of these nowadays are going to be 64-bit. All right, so this is the link that you want to use if you want to catch up on what we're doing today. Oh, you know what? I copied the actual ISO. Let me copy the link. Copy link address. Let's do it this way. Paste. Even better. All right, all right. Mary, I appreciate the shout out. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining again. Some of my few faithful followers. Just moving it off the screen. All right, so let me see if I can stretch this out just a little bit because the chat box gets a little busy. All right. All right, y'all. So if you're not aware, I'm still working on. Um, I got the first question of the night. What's the advantage of 32 over 64 bit? Honestly, I don't know. I have an answer for you right now, right? Um, and I would say advantages 32 over 64. Um, what I was commenting about what the options are you have currently, and I know that 32-bit is probably more useful if you have an older system, but I don't have the actual answer to the difference between 32 and 64-bit. That's kind of above my pay grade right now. But I'm happy to start elevating myself and looking into that. The mouse in the VirtualBox gets weird. Yes, yes. Megan, I'm glad you mentioned it. It is in my blog. If you are discussing the little pop-up box that does capturing, that is, I wrote, I did write about that in the blog and how to escape that. I'll tell you right now, to escape it, hit the right control key. In VirtualBox, your right control key, as long as you have a US American keyboard layout, is your host key. Whenever you want to do anything in the host box that your virtual machine is in, hit the control key. It will then put you on the host itself, not in the virtual machine. I hope that answers you. If that's not what you were talking about, please let me know, and I'm happy to explore that with you. Send me a text message. All you all that already have my contact information, send me a text. I will be changing over to doing a Discord as well, so I'll let you know that. All right, let's go ahead and do this. I got the blog posted already. We posted the CentOS image. I think the next thing for me to do is bring up my virtual box and I'm going to run my Windows because that's what we usually use anyway. I try to make sure I'm on the same page as everyone else or most people in the chat. And don't forget, I'm not going to forget the question, the fancy right control keys. All right, cool. Like, doesn't it have those fancy right control? All right, Megan, we want to have a conversation about your setup. Every time we talk, we got something challenging coming out of you. We're going to have a one-on-one session. Um, and retinins 704. I apologize if I pronounced it incorrectly. I will not forget your question, and I'm happy if you leave a comment or I'll make sure I come back to the message if I can. You can also see the video, my YouTube, if you're on YouTube already. So I will post in the comments of the YouTube stream an answer to that as soon as I get one. Okay, and that will be before the end of the weekend because everyone here knows I post my blog during the weekend. All right. All right. All right, everybody. So, like I said, I like to start off with our recaps. So, last session was a complete hands-on walkthrough of installing CentOS as a virtual machine. And as a reminder, this is virtualization. So we started with virtual machines. We spoke about sandboxing. We spoke about containers. but we started with virtual machines. So the next step today, we're going to focus on installing Docker, and I'm going to walk you through Docker. I got some cool exercise for you. I hope you enjoy it, and I want you all to be able to follow. Now, the good thing about it is you don't have to finish the installation of CentOS to do the Docker. So we're going to try to touch on what happened in the last one. So the reason I'm bringing up the last session with the virtual machine is that you probably ran into a issue here, and I'll show you on my screen what issue you probably ran into. When we were doing the installation of Ricardo's janky computer, I decided to explore a little bit with the installation steps and did lock a root account. Now, I wasn't sure what was going to happen with lock root account, but come to find out, doing lock root account will actually cause your boot cause you to boot in emergency mode, and the emergency mode boot will require you to do some additional steps that we haven't covered yet as administering, that I want to cover with administrating over Linux kernels anyway, because it requires mounting, going through fdisk or going through grub2, and these are all things that are way beyond the scope of what we're trying to cover now. But what I want to do is we're going to rerun the installation. In fact, if you did the installation last time and you wound up in the uh, will not boot beyond emergency mode, drop a one in the chat right now so I know who I'm talking to about this. That would help me out a lot. Now, if you, for whatever reason, decided to take it upon yourself to just reinstall, and you just, and somewhere along the line, you actually said, hey, you know what? I'm going to change things up a little bit, and you found out how to do it without all this, great. I love to hear it. All right. So let me see here. Oh, you know what? I forgot I put the installation disk back in. That's why I did this. So let me go ahead and quit this. Oh, I clicked really fast. That little pop-up box was the capture box we were talking about, okay? Are you sure you want to quit the installation? We're going to say yes. Let's see where this goes. All right, cool. Terminate it. All right. And let me see if I can just completely close out of this. And I'm going to remove that disk that I put in there. Remember, you can load your ISO image into your storage, which I did right here. And I'm going to remove this. So remove it. I don't need to do that. Just got to remove disk from drive. So what you saw, if you saw that, I didn't do the remove attachment. I came over here and removed the actual disk from the virtual drive. So I said, okay. Now I'm going to start and I'll show you what issue you ran into last time. And what I want you to do is follow me on the installation of CentOS stream again. Once I show you the issue that you may have run into. And we're going to run through it really quickly though, right? Because last time we talked about VirtualBox, we talked about the settings. I don't want to spend too much time on just revisiting all the steps. I'm going to just shoot right through and breeze through the startup and the settings aspect of the virtual machine so we can get it installed during this same session. Now, what I am not sure of, and I'll be completely honest with you, is completely on you all and your machines. But Docker should not have an issue running if you have an excess, I believe it said 4 gigs. So 4 gigs of RAM. So if you have an additional 4 gigs of RAM, you should be able to install and run Docker on your machine. Well, the Docker for Docker desktop for Windows on your machine while you're running your virtual box. Okay. If you don't have that, what I would tell you to do is just follow these steps or follow the blog after our stream today to catch yourself up later, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, so we got this thing going like really taking a while, but it's gonna get there. It's gonna get there. It's acting like me, a little slow at times, but it catches up, I promise you. All right, let's see what else we got going on in the chat here. All right, looks good. And I apologize, I forgot to shout out. We got Swirl, Sky World, Swirl Domination. Can I just call you Dom? Domination for short. That's cool. I'll call you Domination. You know, but I got you on here as well. All right, cool. So this is what I was talking about before. This is what you're going to end up, and this is the capture box I told you about, Megan. So this right here is the error that you ran into, okay? So the error that you run into is talking about emergency mode, press enter to continue. It's going to be an endless cycle because what we really have to do is do a live disk loading and then go back and configure the grub and all these other things. And I want to do that with everyone because this whole set, all these sessions we're doing is to build our knowledge base and how this technology actually works, how Linux works, how Windows works. We're exploring everything. We're going to be doing this for a while, right? So I want you to be comfortable as a system admin, as a pen tester eventually, get you into digital forensics if you want to go that route. We're going to go as deep down the rabbit hole together as you want to go. Okay, this is what I live for. I love this stuff. All right, let me get out of here. So I'm going to close this out. I see I got a new message real quick. Let me go ahead and close out of this VM. We already know I got my Windows VM running here. Squirrel domination. All right. Yo, Megan, I love it. All right, for you all that don't know, Megan is uh, our native and our group's only well squirrel fishing expert. All right. If you want to learn about squirrel fishing, holler at Megan. She'll teach you everything you need to know about squirrel fishing. And once again, Megan, I need you send me a picture of your keyboard layout, please, because I got to see what your keyboard looks like. I want to help you out. So send me a picture on my phone and I will take a look at it before we're done with this. All right, so for everyone, like I said, we're going to start over with VirtualBox. Now, if you remember, I didn't load my virtual machine through my Windows. I'm leaving this Windows VM up so that we can do the Docker when we get to that point. I'm doing Docker desktop from Windows. But what I am going to do is get the CentOS running for you. So I'm going to start another box. Well, did not mean to do that. We just said we're going to create a new one, okay? So I'm going to run through this real quick. You've already downloaded it, and if you downloaded what I sent in the chat earlier, you should be ready to run with this as well. So I'm just going to do this really quick here. We're going to do CentOS. I know I had janky computer last time. You know what? Uh, uh, this one works. That's what I'm gonna name this one, okay? Now, we talked about it, the name should auto detect, but since we came up with our own naming scheme, I have to set all this up myself. So we're gonna hit next. And what most of us found out is the settings for memory and hard drive, even though there are minimums that come up automatically, we want to make sure we go a little bit beyond that. So for virtual machines, when you're running Linux, most Linux distros, you're fine like a gig, maybe 1.5 gigs. Let's just do 1.5, right? We're going to do virtual hard drive, dynamically allocated because we don't want to take up all the space right now, but we want to have some available. What I want to do is start with 32 gigs. Please don't do the 8 gigs they started with, okay? Let's go and put a little bit of extra room on there for your machines because what happens is when you install that ISO image, it's going to explode itself and it's going to also pull down additional packages it needs as it loads up. So you don't want to start with 8 gigs and have it just completely kaput on you when you're running. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my settings. I'm gonna load that ISO disk in my storage. Just gonna click over here. Like I said, just run through this really quickly. We already did this once before. All right, hit OK. Now I'm gonna hit start. Then we'll walk through this because I want to spend a lot of time on Docker. I'm really super excited about Docker. And the reason why I'm excited about Docker is this will help out Megan and her issue she's been having with virtual machine. Docker is completely portable. And don't get me wrong, there are applications that make virtual machines portable as well, but we haven't explored that, right? But what we are doing is talking about the high level virtual machines versus containers. And by nature, containers are made to be portable. You don't have an additional software, additional application that makes it portable. It comes portable to start with, right? So that's what we're doing. Put this back on screen, install. Yeah, I don't know why it pops into, well, actually, it's my primary screen. So whenever I do something, it pops in my primary screen. So yeah, what I was saying is Docker, we're going to go ahead and get familiar with Docker because the portability just means that it runs the same way no matter where it is. As long as Docker, and I think I should probably bring up my blog as well so I can show this one image to you. Or maybe I can just find, yeah, I'll do it off the blog. But anyway, so as long as Docker's engine is installed, then you will be able to run it the same way as any box you come across. Unlike Media's experience where she ended up with um, a situation where her VM didn't load properly the first time she booted everything up. All right, so I'm just looking for the image I want to show you all. Where did I put it? Oh, I know what it is. It's my other blog, my other posting. Virtualization. Let me pull this one. Bam, here it is. All right, I'm gonna zoom in just for a second. I just thought about it. I'm in the regular edit mode. Okay, let's go zoom in here. So one thing you will notice, and I think it is Control Plus. Yep. Or could you do them? Good night, son. Baby boy saying good night to everyone. All right, so what you'll notice, it's kind of blurry, I apologize. What you'll notice here is that on the far right containers, you have this one space, this light blue space called container engine. And in container engine, this is what we're talking about Docker, right? As long as this container engine, the Docker engine is there, no matter what machine you are on, no matter what infrastructure you're on, everything above is going to run the exact same way because it does just the minimums it needs and it comes with all its own libraries packaged and ready to go. So I love it, right? Virtual machines do the same thing as you see a hypervisor, but they have the bins and libs and the apps on top. But the difference is this guest OS. Guest OS has a lot of packaging and modules and kernels, however you want to call them, have all these different files it has to load. And sometimes, depending on your hardware, it can get a little confusing for it, right? I don't know why. It just happens. So it can be a little unstable at times. And that's what I'm saying. There are some softwares that make it more portable, but we haven't gotten into those yet. All right, so get back over here. All right, cool. Um, all right, let's go and finish this install. So capture, and we're just going to run through this, get this running, and then what we're going to do is jump right into Docker because we only have about an hour left. I want everyone to get a sense of Docker. All right, so this is going to be running in the background. All right, everything's good here. I'm going to shoot through the setting for root, give this a very weak password. Why? Because I don't care. No one's getting into this box, hopefully. All right, I got to confirm it twice to save that bad password, the very horrible cheater password, which is password one. We're going to make this an administrator, and I'm going to give this also a very horrible, very weak password. Now, what blows my mind is, for some reason, and I don't know if y'all caught this or not, it has this green, it has this indicator. Why is it green if it's weak? Because look, the stronger I make it, just to show you, like I believe. Oh, you know what? I apologize. Maybe my color block, because I could have swore it did a different color, but it actually is filling the blocks in. So okay, so we're cool. But first, I don't know why I thought it was doing like a different color at a certain point, but I was like, why would it do green? Either way, I would like do a color change. That's just me personally. All right, hit done. All right, we are good on this. I'm gonna hit begin installation now. Software. I want to make sure I install my DNS. Packages, network file servers, network servers, package. There's another one. I'm trying to remember. I know system tools. And there's one other one I wanted to throw in here. Not container. Oh, legacy Unix compatibility. Basic web server. That's what it was. It doesn't really matter. You can do as many as you want, honestly. But it does make the install run a little bit longer the more package you add in here because it has more files to pull down. But I do like to make sure I load those up to start with. All right, cool. So now we're running. This is how your install should be looking. We did this last time. We're gonna put this to the back burner, okay? So what's next? What's next? We're gonna get into Docker, right? And I explained a little bit about Docker just now. I am going to try to do this on my Windows box. I want everyone to follow along now. So Megan, everyone else, Mary, whoever else was able to join. I think I saw Mary. Yeah, Mary's up in here. I knew I saw Mary somewhere. I appreciate it. How you doing, Mary? How was your day today? Did you ever get it to install? Did you run into the same issue we had before that I showed earlier? I want to hear from Mary. All right. So what I'm gonna type in here is Docker for Windows download. Docker for Windows download. All right. Let's go ahead and if you don't know already, I hate clicking and opening links directly from the search engine. I always open to another tab. I've just had too many bad experiences, man. I click on things and some crazy stuff happens, and I gotta go back and retype it. I'm a lazy dude, man. I will type as little as possible, copy and paste where I can. I'm trying to get through it. I'm waiting for my heart. I love it. I love that's commitment right there. Married and gone out and bought a entirely new drive. That's external, right? Because if you tell me, Mary, you're cracking your shell open on your host machine and you're gonna put one in yourself, I mean, I got to give you a reward for that one. So is that an external one, or is that actually going to be is that actually going to be getting into the shell? Ah, yes, 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 yes. Retinins 704. Good luck. The mail says, oh, hold up now, hold up. Now it depends. Are we talking about the USPS or are we talking about UPS or even FedEx? I'm gonna tell you right now, I've had no problem with UPS, but USPS, I'm right there with you. I've actually had a situation where one of my orders, and what always blows my mind is how you order it and it goes completely out of whack, like off track to some other distribution center. And I know it's a distribution. I know it's how it actually works. I just don't understand it. I've purchased something in one state over, and it goes 4 or 5 states in a different direction. Just come back to me. I'm like, you know what? I could have drove to get it as fast as you all are delivering it. Give me the address. I'll pick it up myself at this point because it's been over 2 weeks. Why did it say 2 weeks ago? I don't know, 50 miles difference. External. All right, cool. All right, so once again, when you do the external one, make sure you go back and you revisit the blog where it talks about how to specify where you're going to put all of your virtual machines, that destination location, the general one in your preferences. Make sure you point that to your external hard drive, okay? And also, like I said before, move as much stuff out of your PC, out of your computer, over to your hard drive as much as you can, okay? Because anything you can do to free up on your PC will help you out no matter what you're doing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click download from Windows. Yes, 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 Megan. We got a trucking company, and you know what? I wish we did mail, but we don't do mail. We don't do mail. I would if I could. I promise you that much. I'll save the day all day with mail. I might get a I might get. We might get some bonus mileage out of that too. Some bonus pay on those miles. So I'm gonna do a shameless plug. You got somebody that's a broker. First Step Freight is the name of the trucking company. Make sure you put it out there. First Step Freight. We deliver. I promise you. Just not your mail. All right, cool. So what you notice here, I already got to download, but I wanted to walk through it with you all. So we clicked on download. I'm now gonna click on the Explorer folder. Uh, and then we're gonna go over to our downloads. That's what mine does in this VM. And then I'm gonna click on Docker desktop install. I'm gonna do the original one. No. Okay, cool. Same size. Now, I don't know if you all noticed this. This is kind of interesting, right? Just a small sidetrack. I downloaded the CentOS 9 Stream 9 on the 13th and the 18th of this month, right? One before our session, one on our session. And this is the thing about it. These are two different sizes. It blows my mind. The inconsistency you can run into sometime with these. And this, I already know somebody's probably thinking it. This is why you do your hash checking, right? You do you check the integrity of your file to make sure that the hash matches. If it doesn't match, guess what? Try to re-download it. So they might have done a small tweak and it compressed it differently and then they changed the hash, or it could have just been a bad download for me, where it came through mostly complete. I don't know. It's something we could definitely explore later too. And yes, I do jump in. I do a little bit of debugging as well, which means I'll rip open some files. I'll use whatever I can get my hands on to break these files open and really just like go through them. But these are luckily ISOs, so they're really just a compressed, zipped up form of folders. So you just always unpack that anyway. All right, so I'm running the Docker desktop install. Oh, I'm just so excited. All right, so if it is PC, keep the desktop clean. All right. You gotta tell us a little bit more about keeping the desktop clean. Is that just for your sanity, or is that some performance impact behind that? I would love to know. So please, and if you got an article you want to send, hey, take it. Hey, look, you all should be able, as long as you're being respectful, you all should be able to actually jump into the chat and drop some links so we can actually check some information out as well. So I'd love to hear, hey, do we have some real performance reasons why we want to do this? Now, what I'm doing here, these pop-ups are really just asking for permission. Do you want to allow this app to make changes to to your device? And what device is it talking about? This one is hard drive on this computer. Okay, show more details, and then desktop installer, install package. Okay, all right, we can look at the certificate. Anyway, beyond what we're trying to do today, just wanted to expand on that. Desktop is actually stored in memory while the machine is running. Oh man, I love it. Was not aware that your desktop runs out of your memory. I love it. That is awesome to know. I'm telling you, man, I do these streams not just for me to teach you all stuff, but for me to learn from you all. So that's great information. That's a gold nugget of information right there. I love it. All right. So we also know from our last couple of sessions, your memory is in the swap file is that kind of like swing between the memory and the hard drive space. So that's kind of interesting that it sits in memory and it might even, if you have a swap file running, you tag that memory too many times, you're gonna start swapping, flooding it, and it'll go in using the swap file on your hard drive. So keep that memory clear, I guess. That's what you could do. Let me see. Desktop. Now, you know, what I love is that everyone's on YouTube. Hey. So let's go and see. I think I got one person on Twitch. All right, but I think is that the bot? I'm pretty sure it's the bot, right? I think Twitch does the bot, if I remember correctly. All right. Install required Windows component. Yep. All right. Add shortcut. Now, the one thing it says when you're installing is to make sure the first box is checked, which this is. Hit OK. Oh, okay. Okay, that's good to know. So the sound on Twitch isn't as good. I'm gonna have to check that out. Maybe I could do a change to my settings. So I appreciate that feedback. Yeah, I'm really doing it. I'm really doing like so the service I found is called Restream, which I'm pretty sure some people have heard of it before. So it just literally streams on all of my accounts across the board at the same time, which I love. I never knew about it till this past week. I just really wanted to test out Twitch and other stream providers or support platforms. And just to be clear, are you saying, Megan, are you saying Twitch sound isn't as good with our stream, like the stream I'm doing, or are you saying just in general you don't enjoy that? 'Cause I do want to be clear. It was something I need to look at changing myself. Mm. All right, so we're letting this load up here. Did anybody have any problems? Well, actually, no, let's do it this way. So drop a one in the chat if you have your Docker desktop downloading, because this is all hands on, right? Never used Twitch before. Okay. And what I do also, what I am looking to do also going forward, I'm trying to figure out how to get. I see you changed. I see that, Ming. I see you changed the avatar, the little image you have too. I like the potato dancing. That's pretty cool. What I do want to do also going forward is figure out how to bring in audio so we can all speak. Because I know I have a feeling you could do this, do the audio add-ins, add in without having to do something like not Skype, well, not Skype, well, Skype as well. But I was thinking about Zoom. I want to try to still use our streaming platforms and just have audio, maybe like a Discord channel I think I've heard of before. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that about your outage and ISP having issues on your hotspot. Hey, if you're able to get a connection and watch this stream from your hotspot, I'm proud of you. I've been trying to hotspot off my phone from time to time, but my service did some changes, and that Wi-Fi hotspotting that we do on our mobile devices, it helps, but it does not support what we need a lot of times, especially not video. So. One other thing I want to mention is I'm running this Virtualbox, and for the Windows one, I actually boosted mine up to um, two processors. So I'm running two processors on this one because at first I only had one. And these are things, like I said, you can look at running just the 4 gigs of RAM on my Windows virtual machine. I tried installing a VirtualBox on the Windows virtual machine, trying to do like an Inception kind of thing, virtual machine inside a virtual machine, and it did not like that. So I don't know how Docker's going to play out on my Windows. I'm saying that just in case I have to flip over from my Windows machine over to my Linux. Now, if I do that, like I am going to make sure that we're compatible on such as my command line interface versus yours. I'll make sure we cover that and make sure that is something that we're all familiar with. Let me check out see if Megan ever sent me an image of her desktop. I think she did of her laptop. All right, let's take a look at what you got from your. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah. All right, so man, Megan, I'm going to find out that control key for you on the right side. I want to say it's function control for you, and it might just be the function key. Let me do this real quick. Um, VirtualBox, and you can always Google this kind of stuff yourself, right? Google is my friend. I don't know it all. I know probably a very small amount, but I'm always willing to learn some stuff. So VirtualBox host key on laptop. Let's see. Yep, and as she says, it might be some laptop keyboards that don't have a right control key. In that case, different key as your host key. Post describes how to change. change. Okay, preference. Oh, you know what? You can actually change your host key yourself. I never even tried doing that. So I'll bring up on screen for you, Megan. Let me bring up on screen real quick what they're saying you need to do. So you go File Preferences, and let's see. Um, Input right here, and this should be yeah, right here. So Megan, if you go over to your VirtualBox, click on File, and then go to Preferences, and go to Input. Click on the tab that says Virtual Machine, like I'm showing you now. And then it should already be populated what your host key is, and that's what you're using to leave your virtual machine. And if you didn't figure that out, and if you had to power cycle your computer to get out of that box, I apologize. I wish I could have told you. Um, I don't know what it is for a laptop though. Let me see if the article will tell me so. 'Cause I would hate to be thinking that you're stuck in that box right now. Oh, you know what? They gave great advice here. Let me see status bar. It says that in the bottom of your virtual machine. Oh, right here. I think this, if you click it. Yeah. So on the bottom of my virtual, if you look at the bottom right hand corner of my box, there's the manager for the virtual machine at the very bottom. And it actually has right control. You can always click that as well. And you see a little arrows blinking for me. That means it's taken as an input. So Megan, I hope that helps, and that's something new for me today as well. All right, so it says my Docker desktop did succeed, so I'm gonna hit close. All right. Oh, that's nerve-wracking. I want to see if this actually works this time. Okay. Um, because I've tried this before. Yep, I'm gonna cancel installation. I ran it twice. Close this box. Okay. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna click on the Docker desktop. All right, it's thinking. It's thinking. Oh, that's a good point. Let me drop the link for Docker, right? I know we searched it together, but there's no harm in dropping the link here. Let's go ahead and paste that right there. All right, so if you're on Windows, run it here. Now, good point here. This is if I did this for most people on this call because I think most people are on Windows. But if you're a part of the select few that may already have explored and ventured into the world of Linux or even Mac, Docker is something you can load from one of your program repositories, your software repositories, and it's actually already a package usually ready for you, and you just type it in, download it, and it will install itself. It's usually if you're running Ubuntu is going to be the way you call your package manager is going to be using the apt or apt-get. Both of them work. The dash get is the older version of the package manager. And all you would do is do like your sudo, sudo, space apt, space install, space docker, and I think it's docker.io, um, or just Docker. Depends on what distro you're running. And it's an enter. Same thing for CentOS or Red Hat distributions, where you just do yum. And the newer package manager for Red Hat based distribution is D as in dog, N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, D and F. So instead of doing yum, you do D and F, and then whatever you're going to do. And then if you're running something like, oh man, I can't even remember. It's like, I think it's Emerge. It's the SUSE. If you don't like OpenSUSE, Linux distros, which is I think Emerge is what you use for package managers. There's so many of them, but the primary ones are the apt from Ubuntu based or Debian based distros, and then Yum or DNF for Red Hat based distros. All right, so is running. Let's see if we get it to work though. So, of course, We always advise you read this, and if you don't read this, you're going to end up like the South Park episode where you become part of the human centipede for the knockoff iPad episode. I think I actually did mention iPad. I'm trying to figure out how these people don't get sued every week. I love South Park. I'm not gonna lie. All right, except I did not read that. I know I'm horrible. I just wait for to see what it does. Let's see if it pops up anything. Still thinking. Um. All right. How we doing? How we doing with the chat here? Let's see. We got. Oh, oh wow. And it was say fail to start. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Let's see what's going on. I literally have not even gotten this far yet for Windows. Um, so one thing I would say we're going to skip to do real quick because we're going to need it anyway. Okay. So Docker has two components. You have the actual engine, and then you have something called a registry. And the registry is where you can download images, which are base or not. So I think I'm making progress on CentOS on the Virtualbox now. All right, Megan, I love to hear it. I think you just sent me a message, right? If you didn't, that's cool. I'm loving it. All right, but like I said, this is actually going to be a lot better for you when it comes to getting stuff running. All right, so my Docker failed to load. Let's see what this says here. Looks like there was an error with Docker Desktop. Restart it to fix it. Um, start when I log in. Expose Damien. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Use Docker Compose V2. Software updates. A new update is ready to download. Oh, that's interesting. All right, let's go ahead and restart like I said. Well, it says let's do this. Maybe this might work for me. Download, update. All right, CentOS is booting. I'm loving it. People running with that blog and they're doing the steps or they just followed along from the beginning of this one. I like it. I saw mine was 4.4.3. So Megan, are we talking about the Docker download? What was your 4.4.3? What was that? Oh, okay, got you. I appreciate it. This one, yeah, and that would make sense. And I think it's just because of my Windows. Like I said, this is a virtual machine. So maybe, yeah, got you. I understood once you put your last message. So try to get it to download. Oh, update and restart. Okay. All right. I have a feeling that maybe it might be because my virtual machine needs to have a little more power to it. Let me see what my performance is. Looks like performance should be fine. Two processors good. And this might be the same issue I ran into when I was trying to run a virtual machine within this virtual machine. I don't think it has everything it needs to do that type of work. But honestly, it should because I did some. If you read my blog, I talked about running a virtual machine inside of a virtual machine. And there is a step, at least on Linux distributions, that you can mod. Well, actually, it'll work on Windows as well. Um, that you can modify the VirtualBox manager to allow for nested virtualization. So I did turn that on, and it allowed me to get a little further. Because if you remember, too, last session as well, when I was trying to run the virtual machine, I could not see the 64-bit option when selecting the version. And once I did the fix of adding in nested virtualization, then it was like I was able to do that. So we'll see. And this is not wanting to do anything. Let me just go ahead and restart and see if this helps. If not, like I said, I apologize, y'all. We are going to have to we're gonna try to do it the best way we can, and I will show you on my end of it. Yeah, it failed to start again. All right, so let's do this real quick. Sidetrack, sidetrack, sidetrack. Let's step to the side just a little bit here. There is one step that everyone has to do anyway, is that is going to create an account on Docker Hub. All right. So like I was saying, Docker, with the container platform engine for Docker has two components. It has the engine itself and it has the registry. The registry is where all of your images sit. So the way it works, a container is an instance. So it's like a virtual machine built from an image. So to build the virtual machine, the container, you had to first have an image, right? So where do you get the image from? The image comes from a registry. Even if you build your own, you have to start from scratch. Well, it actually is called Scratch to build your own, and that's something you still download from the Docker registry. Um, and let me go ahead and do this. So you do sign up, and what we're doing now is we're going to sign up for the official generic and general Docker registry called Docker Hub. So the address here, and I'll copy and paste before someone asks for it. Copy and paste, you're going to go over to this link and you're going to sign up for an account. And once you sign up for an account, you'll be able to sign in. So we're going, and you'll be able to pull images. And Docker will request you sign in to pull an image. And that's a part of the GUI interface you saw earlier on the Windows box. So next thing we have to do before we do anything else with the Windows Docker, and please drop a one in the chat if you got Docker desktop to open without failing. Please let me know that. Drop a two if you got an issue with it. Okay, so just to walk you through this while you all are responding to that question. So the Docker ID you make up yourself, is this your user name? So mine, you already saw, is just Ricardo Billingzar, well, R Billingzar, which you already know is my name, oh 04, email address I use, and a password. Awesome, awesome, Megan. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Mary, I hope it's working for you on your end of it. And retinins, I hope that works for you as 704, works for you as well. And then you can always skip this part, occasional product updates, you don't need it. Agree to the subscription service. Click and read it. I got to tell you that. Not a robot, sign up. All right, and that's it. Once you do that, and I'll show you what the sign in looks like. Go ahead. Okay, continue. I do not remember signing into this. For some reason, it has my password. That's kind of scary. All right, cool. So now this is what you see. You sign in and it captures all your beautiful information. This image, I wish I signed in through my Facebook. No, it might be through my Gmail. I don't know if that image is for Gmail or not. All right, but now we are in Docker Hub, right? And we can actually download the Windows app from here as well. Don't need it. We already have it there, even though mine is out of date. And let's see if we can sign in from here. I don't think it's going to let me sign in because of what happened. All right, so everyone that has it running, go ahead and sign into it. Make sure you sign into it. And this is going to be really difficult, I think, because I don't think I know exactly what you all are seeing. That's the crazy part. I wish I did. Uh, this is where I wish we could do screen share. We could walk through it together. All right, resources, Docker image. All right, so I got to do it the way I feel comfortable and I'm able to do so. So for you all that are in Docker, let's try our best to actually follow through this. And later I will actually try to find a way to do it as well through Windows. Maybe there's something else I can do to make this work properly. Um, because for whatever reason it's not loading. Like we already found out, has the wrong version. And I partly feel like it's the virtualizing inside of virtualization, inside of another virtual box. That's kind of messing something up along the way. Um, just checking my CentOS Stream 9 installation still going. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's do this. I'm going to kill my Windows box. I just want to try one thing. So I got it installed. Let's go and kill this. And I am going to see if, because it says a minimum amount of RAM for a Docker desktop is 4 gigs. Maybe if I give it a little extra, it might run a little smoother. Maybe it's hitting some type of wall I don't see. So I'm going to give it 6 gigs. I got a little bit extra to spare, so I'm going to give it 6. And you know me, I like to keep track of my host machine as well. So let me see where I am on my host machine. Ooh, I am running 1.5 gigs of swap. You know what? I probably should have restarted my machine before I did this stream. So I'm gonna keep that up though, just take a look at it. I got 2 cores running on this Windows box. I got 1 core. Yeah, 1 core is running on this CentOS that's currently loading. So I got 8 cores total. I think we'll be fine with the cores as well. Now, this is one that I cannot tell you, and I need to look a little further into it, is how much of the host RAM and CPUs are used by each Docker image. That is something I have to look into. I've never even thought to ask that question until now because I'm so used to monitoring my usage of my hardware within the virtual machine, like the realm of virtual machines, and I've never really thought about it for Docker. All right, so while I was pulling back up here, like I said, I gotta do is what I'm comfortable with. So for me, mine is a GUI. So I'm gonna put this on the screen for everyone. Um, Try to zoom in a little bit. Control TT. Let's see if this works. Of course, I will hit forget the shift. I put it in there. All right, so for me, this is my Docker. So I use command. I'm actually really comfortable with command line anyway. What you all are saying, I apologize, I can't see it. I wonder if you have similar options. Um, if not, I am going to have to walk you through this part and we can see if it's something we can do within our CentOS box with the Docker. All right, so you know what? Let me do it this way. So I'm just going to do Docker and I'm going to pipe this into less and I'll teach you about pipe letter. So basically what this does is it shows me all my information about my Docker and I don't know why it's doing, because that's doing the full readout. It's supposed to give me piece by piece. Let me see what more does. Nope. So let's just do Docker because I can scroll up and down with that one anyway. Okay, and then control up. All right, so using control shift up, I can scroll up and down my keyboard. So this is basically what I wanted to show you. These are the options you have with Docker. A lot of it you have to just learn as you go, but the primary ones we're going to focus on is going to be pull, which is down there for commands. And this is how we're going to get our first one running. Now, the good thing is you all have a GUI. The GUI, you may be able to do a search and to pull using your GUI. I might have to do mine through command line, but I can walk you through the concepts, right? So now that you have an account with Docker Hub, you can now go in and search for images that you want to pull down. And pulling just means you're copying from the registry into your local machine, which is a download. So for those of you all that went through our situation where we had the 4+ gig download of Kali Linux in our very first session, pay attention to how large your images are you're downloading because it will be the same thing. You have to download it and you have to wait for it to finish before you go any further. But the point is, you do a pull to pull the image in to your local engine setup. And then once you have an image there, you can then start to actually run the image and we can have a little fun with it, right? So you pull them down and then you can run the images. Now, once you pull them down, you can do a lot of stuff with the image. You can learn a lot about the image. You can inspect the image. You can repackage the image and create a new one for yourself. You can copy stuff over. You can copy from your host machine into the image. So we're gonna have a fun little thing we do today just to show you how running a container actually works. So like I said, you pull the image down and then you run the image and that's when it becomes a container. So when you hit the run command, it creates a container automatically, and that container is what you're playing around in. And like I said, we'll walk through in just a moment. But first things first is we have to pull down an image. So I am going to show you my Docker Hub, and we're going to find an image today. All right, so Docker Hub, so hub dot, and I'm on another screen. I already know. I'm just waiting to pull this over so I can pull it, so I can show you at one time. So Docker Hub, I'm already logged in. So this is my Linux box. It should look the exact same, nothing different, except for this is already on an image. So I'm gonna go to Docker Hub website. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna search for content, this very top search bar. And what I want to do is see if there's a CentOS. Let's see what we have for CentOS. So official image, this was updated 4 months ago. And I want to see how large this image is. Let's see. So I have a CentOS 7, CentOS base. They have a lot of options here. So I was talking about it before, 32-bit. Now, when we originally last session, when we talked about the x86 underscore 64 represents 64-bit, when you see i386, this is a 32-bit. So that's the 32-bit version of it. AMD 64 is a 64-bit. All right. And they have all kind of stuff in here, but we're going to stick with the top one, official image. And let's see if we can find out how large this image is. Because if it's too big, what I don't want to do is do that now. We can always do a small Linux version. And I'm afraid this is going to be the larger version. Okay. View available tags. I'm not worried about this. This is latest, CentOS 8.4. And we'll talk about the tags in just a moment. I'm trying to see if I can find where yeah, okay, here it is. So compressed size. So these are sizes. So it actually looks to be a decent size. Okay, so we will do this pull. So for you all are running the Windows base version. You all can, in a GUI form, most likely what you all will be able to do, and let me just have this up here, is let me split this out so I can see your chat while we're doing this. So what you all are going to be doing is most likely searching within your GUI box. If I get a one in the chat to let me know if there's a search available for images in your GUI, maybe when you click images on the left-hand side, it gives you a place to search for. Give me a one in chat if that's correct. Give me, if not, give me a two if I'm not right on that. Because I'm just guessing. I've never done Windows. I'm a straight Linux person. Windows is something I use at work only and when I do virtual machines. So I really am guessing right now. And I apologize for flipping over. I'm just trying to make sure I can sign in here and see if I'm able to run the same thing you're running. I'm gonna move my virtual machine off screen. All right, while that loads up here, and to check on my CentOS. Ah, still going, still going. Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna talk about tags just for a second. So one thing you notice, I clicked on tags, but also clicked on view available tags, and it sent me to the same place, right? This is the same link. Tags are how they differentiate the different versions of the image. So you can create an image that, let's say, has one application in it. And then say you want to do an update, change some things around, you'll create a new tag for that. So then you'll say this tag represents this version of the image. So that's all tags are. Tags are how we differentiate versions of the image that we've created. Now, of course, you're looking at here, these are more along the lines of like versioning that you see in software, where it went from like latest CentOS 8.4.2. Whatever. This is the tag you pass in. So the way the construct works is you do the name of the actual image that you're pulling, colon, and then the tag also, you may call it the version of it, but they call it tag in a terminology of Docker, the tag afterwards. And that's all you have to do is pull it in. So, and I'll be honest with you all, my Docker desktop is just not liking my Windows machine. Not working, not having it. So I'm going to have to do it this way. All right, so for me, I am going to show you what happens if I pull this down, okay? So I just copy and pasted that command. This is my Docker that I showed you earlier. And I'm just going to do a paste into my window, and I'm going to hit enter. Now what you'll notice is that it said default tag is latest. See, I didn't specify the colon or the colon and tag I want to pull, right? So it automatically substitutes in the latest part. Okay. Now that is a problem because one, there's a security problem that can come along with that if you're doing this in a corporate environment, and also even in the community version of Docker Hub, where everyone can upload their own images for people to share. Some people don't put a latest. You don't have to have a latest. You can literally name every one of them with a specific tag. And when you go to run this command I have here without that tag, it's going to give you an error. I've done it plenty of times. I'm like, what is wrong? I know I'm doing this right. But that's what ends up happening. All right, so we got Docker pulled down for CentOS. So the beautiful thing about this is the same thing we've been running on our local machine, on our virtual machine, is now we can use a Docker to download it. Now, the only thing I don't like and I couldn't find is what version of CentOS this is. It tells me that it's been scanned for log4 shell, and if you're not familiar with the log4j uh, recent vulnerabilities, pretty much all these images show you that they've already scanned for this because they're trying to promote the fact it is safe and that some companies that use Docker would pull this down to start their base image for a lot of stuff. Um, all right, so, and of course, safety is first when it comes to anything, especially working in a company. So what I can't find out is what version of CentOS this is, whether it be 9 or 8. I just don't know, right? It says official build though. We can find out once we get into the Docker, into the container itself. All right, so next thing I want to show you is how do I find out what I have to work with? What images I can pull from and I can start containers with. And so I've done some things with Docker, so I do have a few images in here. But to find out what images are available for the Windows version, obviously you probably just click on the image to the left side of your screen. And I didn't get any feedback yet. Were you all, if you click, like, were you all able to search for an image through the actual Docker itself, or did you have to go to the website? I'm sorry, the Docker desktop, or did you have to go to the website for Docker? So I didn't get any feedback yet from that. So Megan, you help me out. Mary, somebody help me out. Drop a one in the chat if you were able to search through the Docker desktop without going to the website after you signed in. All right. And I guess I should show you this before I go any further. I guess I should show you this. Yeah, I think log off was a command. Oh, I see both. All right, cool. Bet. I love to hear that. So you're able to search within the Docker desktop. Okay, cool. So I'm hoping you're able to like download it in there as well. And so you're doing the pull that I just showed you, okay? So if you're in there, you're doing the pull I just showed you. So what I'm trying to find now is my log out. Good. Now I can log in. Okay, good question, right? So what I was showing before was, remember, I am trying to emulate the Windows machine that most people are on from right now as their host. So I was using my Windows, but because I'm virtualizing my Windows as a virtual machine, then it has some limitations on what I can install in it. So it won't let me do the inception concept where I'm doing a virtual machine inside of a virtual machine. And containers are still virtualized in a sense, right? So they're not a virtual machine, but they are virtualized. So I couldn't go any further. So for me, I started the download on the Windows, which I was hoping everyone would follow. And then everyone that's been able to use the Windows one, I'm just kind of speaking to it, but I can't show you the Windows side of things, right? I can only show you the Linux side of things, which is my host machine. My host machine is a my host machine is a Linux box. So to answer your question, we are downloading Docker on the Windows. We already walked through that step. We also walked through the step of creating a hub account. So you're actually able to download from the repository. So you get your image. And then we've walked through kind of how to pull an image down. So we did a search for CentOS on Hub, and then I copied the pull command out of the Hub interface, okay? And I paste that into my command line of Docker on Linux. But if you're using Windows, you have a GUI, which I'm assuming you all can search inside of it, which Megan said you can. Search for an image in the desktop for Windows and then download it from there, and it'll load your image, okay? So what I was going to show you is those who are in my boat and maybe using Linux, you do have to log in to Docker to actually do, um, you have to log into Docker to actually download. So I was going to show you, and I think is log off, log out. Yeah, okay. And then sign in. There's login. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to show you this. What I had to originally do before I was able to download those images, just for those who are going through Linux or Mac. Because I know one of my followers uses Mac, so I want to show you what you have to do once you download Docker. All right, you do your password, everything unencrypts, and now you're logged in. So this is my step here. So I hope that answered your question about whether or not we're downloading Docker on the host or the VM. My VM is what I was doing on, but I want you all to use your host machine. I was trying to emulate your environment, but I couldn't go any further. Now, for me, I have to show you from my environment how Docker works, but it's the same concept. You have to get the image. You only get the image by pulling that down from Hub, Docker Hub. Unless you have your own registry, well, we'll do that another time. So now, let's pick up where we left off. I have to show my images this way. You will just have a click. You just have to click on your GUI to see your images. So what you'll see is I pull down CentOS, which is right here, and it shows an image ID, when it was last created, and how large it is. Okay, this is actually pretty cool. It's a really small image. I love it. Okay, so this is it. This is all we do for Docker. So I have my image here, and now I can always run a container. It's just that quick and easy and that simple. So instead of having to wait for, instead of installing your hosted hypervisor, and then downloading an ISO image, which is kind of a similar thing, but then having to go through all those configurations, like the hard drive, the number of CPUs, the number of RAM, the size of your RAM, setting up the actual ISO file and the storage, doing your copy and paste functionality. You don't have to do all that with Docker, right? But it also does imply that you're really familiar with your command line if you're running in Linux. Now, I don't know what the Windows looks like. But yeah, so this is it. So now we know what our images are that we have downloaded. So what you'll notice is I have two images up. We have a Kali image I've downloaded before. We have a Ubuntu, which I know Megan uh, is familiar with, and we also have CentOS. So what do we do now? Now what we do is spin up our container. And how do I do a container? I got to use the command run. Now Docker, and I'm going to show you this because it's really important that you learn to use your guides, your manuals. And that's not what I want to show you. That is Netcat is something we're going to get into in a moment. And I probably need to run that anyway. Okay. But what I wanted to show you is that use your documentation. It's really important to use documentation whenever possible to get an understanding of what you can and cannot do. So Docker has a very, very detailed, like really easy to navigate through documentation. And this is just found on docs.docker.com. I'll paste that in here. So these are all the commands you can issue in Docker. But what we're going to focus on is the Docker run command. So you see Docker pull. This is what we did earlier. We did a pull. Okay. We're also going to show you PS in just a moment, but we're going to do Docker run. So how does Docker run work? So you have all these different shorthand attachments, but I'm not going to overwhelm you with all this stuff. Oh, actually, this answered my question. How many CPUs we can do? I love that. See, this is why we love documentation. Just go through this. You can see right away how to do things, right? So I can actually add CPUs if I wanted to. I could probably do the RAM as well. If I go a little further, it might be under memory. Yep, memory, see? Memory limits, reservations. Our swap, which we talked about before, right? I love it. Well, swapping this is actually how you actually set the size, right? Well, actually, no, swapping this is something else. I gotta look it up again. You had to have a swap to do swapping this. That's how it works on Linux as well. Um, Man, I love this. Okay, publish, and we're gonna do that as well. Okay. Anyway, so the ones we're gonna use today is the command of -t, which is the sudo tty, which honestly I have to read more about, but I just know we're gonna use it for typing into it. Interactive, that's what it is. So the standard in and out. If we don't do the interactive, I'll tell you right now, we will have a very, very bad time trying to actually get out of the image once we load it up. Now, you all might have a different experience with Windows. Oh, I got a comment, light bulb. So we showed the installation of a VM versus the installation of Docker. My- Yes, yes. I hope it didn't blow your mind too hard. We were showing the difference in both. And in fact, my VM is still running on installation. There's separate installation, separate virtualization technique. All right, so I'll just show you the documentation. I posted documentation, so you do have that. I didn't send it. Let me send it. So that's the docs, and that's it. So once you get the image in there, I'm gonna hit run, and like I said, I'm gonna use dash T, and I want to run my image. So I have two options. I can either do by image name, but because I'm just who I am, I like using image ID. It doesn't matter which one you do, right? You can, in fact, you can actually run it with the SHA hash ID as well. What I do, I'm so used to being as effective as possible when it comes to launching images. I like using unique values. I don't want to use text or naming conventions to launch anything. And one reason why is I've done research before when it comes to um, vulnerabilities within Docker. And one of the simplest ways to get people to execute and work with a vulnerable image is to just name it something that they're familiar with and give it a tag or give it latest as the tag. And people, if they're used to running by name, they won't pay attention to that whether it's a right or wrong image. So to stop that from being a problem is I actually, when I create an image or I download an image, I'll actually show you what I usually do is I'll run the image ID, which is a unique value that you see on my screen here, or what I will do is do inspect when I originally downloaded, and I'll save it in another file, but I will do an inspect of this, right? And what I will do is scroll up here and I will launch with the SHA hash. And if you know anything about hashing, this is the only hash of its kind for this image, right? None of the image will ever have the same hash, okay? So I can download 100 images, they will all have unique hashes. So if I wanted to run this, and I'll show you that you can do it either way. I'm going to clear my screen so it doesn't have all the gibberish, you know, garbage in the window here. I got something from Megan. Um, I appreciate that. I got somebody saying that they're going to help me do some screen captures for the Windows side of things. Um, and Megan sent me something. Ah, yeah, I mean, if you got a storage error, it's not a real error. That's the warning. It's in the blog. It walks you through it. Just click on it and hit done. I apologize for being so late to see that. And then I have a download issue with the one you just sent. Okay, looking at this. All right, proud of you. Looks like you got your CentOS 9 stream running. Awesome. Glad to see it. And then looks like you are doing Ubuntu. You pull that down in Docker. All right, cool. So it actually does. Okay, cool. So I'm glad you showed me this. You actually get a command line when you're pulling images down through the Docker interface. So I'm glad you told me that. So this is what we're doing now. And it looks like you've already went ahead of me. I appreciate it, Megan. Thank you so much for that. All right. Um, all right. So look, where was I at? Okay, yeah, I was on Docker. And we're almost out of time because I got my daddy duties I got to take care of, but we're going to do this real quick. So I'm going to show you this Docker T, and then I am going to just do paste. Okay. And this is my image ID. And looky there. Look what you end up with. You end up with a root. So you log in as root for just that device. Now I'm not running this as root. Don't get that misunderstood. It's just that when you run your container, inside of your container, you are root. Okay? And that's really important to know that. Okay? So there's no harm in the way I executed this. In fact, I set mine up so that every time I execute Docker, I'm not doing it as root. I included my user of my box in the Docker group so I can execute all of Docker commands without running as root. Very important to know the difference. So to prove of where we are, I'm gonna do ls. Because I'm on Linux, that wouldn't show any differently anyway. But this would, right? If I do cat out, and this is something you just learn as you go through Linux. Pretty much every distribution of Linux has this. It has release. Um, you know what? Actually, find iname. I apologize. I'm trying to find the file real quick. Release. This is not something I expect you to do. I'm just trying to find this for us so I can find it. Okay, cool. Um, when we know we're in CentOS now, because it gave us this, right? So the normal command, I believe, is just OS release. So let's go ahead and, because normally in Ubuntu versions, you use LSB dash release. This one has three different versions. So we could do cat to see what we're running. Cat and the file, which is CentOS. Let's try that one. Oh, look at that. We're actually running 8. So we're not running 9, we're running 8, which is actually discontinued. Is no longer supported by Red Hat, well, the makers of CentOS, right? So let's see what it says when we do a Red Hat. I'm just interested at this point. Same thing, right? And then OS, let's see what OS does. Oh, got a tab. Ooh, it gives me a lot more information. I like this one, OS. So let me clear the screen. Let me see if CLS works. Nope, it doesn't. So I'm gonna do clear. Uh, and this is not a command. All right, so I know shortcuts, right? So I just did Command Control L, which cleared my screen. And I think it didn't even clear my screen. Yeah, I did. I think I could scroll up. Let me see if I can scroll up or not. I can scroll up. It just reorganized my screen, right? On Control L. But and just to repeat the last one, because I want to be able to read this clearly. OS. All right, cool. So it gives us the name, and this is all what you're seeing in the container itself. And to prove it's a container, if I do another window, open up a tab. So I have a separate tab. So this is the one I was just in, right? This is where you have the output we just looked at. This is a separate one. If I do Docker PS, it will tell me that I am in a container right now currently running. I created the container 3 minutes ago. It's been up for 3 minutes, and I have no, I think it's the name of the person who created it. So the owner, and I'm in it as bin bash. Okay. Now this is a default, but you can pass whatever command you want to when you open it up. And this is the image ID, like I showed you earlier, that I'm running on. Okay. So this is pretty much it. If you follow, and based on what I just saw from Megan's picture, you all should be seeing kind of the same interface at this point, which I do like. So I'm glad that you all are able to see that difference. Okay. And if I just thought about it, this is not blown up. So this is really cool. What I want to also do is show you this one thing. Now, because we only got 4 minutes left and I got to jump off, I want to show you that the container can do so much more than just open up and give you access to the operating system. You can actually, and we'll talk about ports and how that stuff works later, but I want to show you something really cool that you can try on your own as well. And I'll send you a link to another blog about it. Is when you're running, and I'm going to exit out of this one. If I type exit, it'll leave it, right? I'll go back to my regular terminal. But I want to show you is this, and I think it's really cool. So you can actually pass your local folders or drives, mounts, however you want to call them. But let's say you have your documents folder, right? My document looks a little differently, but I'm going to show you what my documents look like. So if I do, um, and I have to do the absolute path. I cannot do a shorthand. I got to do the entire absolute path, not the relative path. So if I do this, documents, okay, I do colon, and then I tell it where to go. So, and I'll explain this to you real quick. The first part is my documents folder on my host machine. This one is where it's going to end up inside of the container once I finish, okay? So, and I'll show you real quick so you see yourself. I'll run that and you'll see documents. I probably shouldn't have picked that folder, but I'm going to do it anyway. I got some of my business stuff on there. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like, right? So I do ls. I have this location, home. And now it should be a replica, it should be exact copy of what I have locally because it was passed through. So if I do ls home, yep. So yeah, this one is application, physical evaluation, and stuff like that. So, oh, so lucky nothing bad was on there. right? But anyway, this is what my documents look like, and this is inside of a container, right? This would never have existed in the container unless I pass it through with this argument. Now, one of the arguments I wanted to show you, which I think is really cool, it requires me to run something called Netcat. So I'm going to do Netcat, which is just abbreviated with NC. Netcat is a application that allows you to open up ports, and you do so much stuff when you do that. You can, and I'm gonna show you something I do. This is a trick, and you can look up how to install Netcat on Windows, but we'll also cover it next time. Okay. So Netcat port, and I'm gonna make a port that should never be used unless I want to use it. I'm gonna do 4614. It is not a reserved port, and reserved ports we'll cover at a later time. But this is not a reserved port. It's a totally unique port in a sense. So I'm gonna hit that. It's gonna leave an open interface. So now what I do here is I'm gonna exit out of my Docker. I'm going to do one more argument. And this is really cool. It's the publish argument. So what publishing does is it says on your host machine, I just opened this port on my host machine, right? I can push this through on any port I would like to. I can make it up, right? I can do 4613, 4614. It doesn't matter. What it's saying is whatever port you have running, and that's my daddy duty alarm going off, but wherever port you have running on your host machine, you can access it on your actual container. So let's run this so you see how it works. Um, oh, of course that would happen. Bind address already. Oh, let's just do another one then. Okay. Um, right. Let's do. Oh, you know what it is? I think it's because I'm doing local host 415. No, it has to be listening. Oh, I would have forgotten how to do this one. I'm pretty sure it's listening. And then this one, already in use. Waiting for container context. I am missing something here. Publish 41546. Daemon failed the programming external connectivity. Point. Okay, what am I going wrong with this one? Let's see. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, it actually is this. So let me do this first. Cancel this out. Let me run this first. So I'm gonna run it first. I'm gonna open it up. Now what I can do is open up this is what I want to do the listening for. I apologize. So we're gonna listen on port 4613, and Netcat is not actually installed on this box. Wow. I would have picked this and not done this properly. All right, so let me do this real quick. Docker, so I stopped that container by just exiting it. Images, because I just want to show you how it works, right? We can always revisit in more detail later. So let me start with this container, and I'm just going to do it this way. So I am doing a different image, and it's run command in a new container. I did not paste, that's what it was. Okay, paste. So this is a new container at the very bottom of my screen, and I apologize. Let me see if I can reorganize. Okay, there we go. So now I could do netcat. listen port 4613. Great. Okay, now, and I apologize. I was definitely just getting a little panicked there. If I do open the port, so now we're listening. I mean, now we're sending information through. See how it just stays blinking on the next line? Watch what happens if I do hello. Flip over here. I am now talking directly to my container from my host machine. And this is to show you how Netcat works, as well as the fact that pushing a port, establishing a port, publishing a port from your host machine to your container work and show you how that part works. So basically, if you want to do your 80 port, so anything that comes through on your 80 port, you send through on the 80 port from your host machine will go through the specified port on your actual Docker itself. All right, so I appreciate someone shouting out the daddy duty. So I appreciate everybody staying on this time. We are going to catch this again next Thursday. I hope this was helpful. Send me a text message on whatever, wherever, however far you got into this. I want to know if we achieved our goal. So make sure you send me a text message or drop a chat, a comment in our YouTube channel. And yeah, other than that, you all have a great evening. We will talk again next Thursday, and I'll send another email out explaining what the agenda is going to be. I'm pretty sure we're going to start moving into either system admin, so you get to learn the command line part of operating systems, and or we'll start jumping into maybe the OSI model, so we can dig a little deeper into other technologies later. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate it. You all have a good one and good night.